Hey everyone, how's it going? I am Zeracon and I am back once again. It's definitely been a while, hasn't it? I mean, it's been what, at least 3 weeks since I last uploaded a video. I apologize for that. A couple things have been happening. Either A, I haven't really had any ideas for videos to make, or B, I just haven't been available. I mean, seriously, I've been reaching the end of finals and stuff, so that's definitely a good reason as to why I haven't, had time to make any new videos or anything like that. Although you should be, well, no, not should be, you will be getting a certain new string of videos coming up soon enough. I'm not going to say what it is, but tune into my Twitter, just to keep track of that stuff. But as for the topic of the video today, well, really, it's really just a slew of things I want to talk about. So, yesterday it was announced that Robert Pattinson, you most likely know him as Edward from uh, Twilight. So he was announced to be Batman or he's going to be the new Batman. He's going to play the role of Batman. And so I saw this and I'm like, why? Why would he be Batman? Why would you make him Batman? I mean, what's with that mindset? Why? Who thought he? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. All right, and here is even something that's I'm even gonna say is like I think that this is so awesome to hear this from this perspective. My sister, who was a diehard Twilight fan growing up, she saw this and she said, "Why is he being Batman? He would be a horrible Batman." And I thought to myself, "Yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about." And when I look to Twitter, I see some people saying, the same thing. But you want to know something else I see? People saying that this is another case of fans and nerddom being toxic and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, 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 whoa. Who are you to tell us how we should enjoy our own fandom? Because you're not a part of this community. So you don't get to say that we're being toxic because someone's not properly portraying or is going to properly embody the character that they are going to be acting as. I mean, you don't get to do that. Now, they brought up good points. They did bring up good points, saying stuff like, people said the same thing about Heath Ledger not being able to be the Joker, and he did a good job with that. And also with Robert Downey Jr., and, he did a great job as Iron Man. Although I did see some people, like in some cases, say that Robert Downey Jr. was really just being Robert Downey Jr., and so like that's really the reason why, because he had his own special charisma. But, if you look at Ben Affleck as Batman, he was a mixed bag. I mean, some people like him, some people didn't like him as Batman. I was in the camp of he was good for what the film needed. As far as being a Batman who was more akin to The Dark Knight Returns. So someone who's that gruff, more gritty and pessimistic Batman. He did a good job embodying that. But as far as being just like the pure embodiment of Batman, no, he was not a good Batman in that regards. So he was a mixed bag in that camp. But then, no one brought up Jared Leto or Jared Leto. I don't know how his last name's pronounced. But no one brought up him because he was a horrible Joker. I mean, seriously, he was trash. So like they bring up all these positives, but they don't bring up the cons as well. And that's something that that the mainstream media loves to do, is to bring up stuff that only supports their cause. And that even made me think, the geeky community, nerd community, geek community, that's the only community that can't have an opinion. You have to adhere to positivity. You can't criticize anything that occurs. Otherwise, you're just being a toxic individual and stuff, or oh wow, look at this toxic fandom and stuff. I mean, seriously, look at any other community out there like sports culture, for example. If a player isn't doing a good job, people will say, "Oh, he did such a great he did a horrible job," or "She was not doing great at today's game," and people can say that, and no one's going to bat an eye about it because hey, you know it's fine. You can have that opinion. Like, oh yeah, you're right. They weren't doing a good job today. They need to improve themselves, or they need to do some more practice and stuff. You can say that stuff, but heaven forbid if you say, oh my goodness, this this sucks because, or this game is so bad because that's microtransactions, and or oh my goodness, there's so many bugs in this game, or this movie is horrible because it does not adhere to the comics. But you say something like that, and all these quote journalists say that fandoms are being toxic once again, and that is pathetic. I mean, seriously. Look at when Sonic the Hedgehog trailer came out. Now, I I was blasting this thing on Twitter just because of the fact that people who criticized the trailer, they had received copyright claims for it, even if they weren't using audio, because that's what some people thought. That was the problem of using the audio from the movie and stuff, and so they just cut that out. They had their videos claimed because of that. I mean, just because they still had their videos claimed. So it wasn't the audio. It was the fact that they were, criticizing the movie. And so, Memology 101, he was covering that. And so, I kept sharing that every day and kept tagging Sonic the Hedgehog, as far as the film. I tagged their Twitter, and also I think it was Warner Chappelle, since they're the ones who had the license for the music. I tagged them as well. I kept blasting this thing and saying hey, you guys, you're a bunch of clowns and stuff, and whatever, and stuff like that. And so eventually, these quote games journalists come out and say something this is just the community being toxic. These filmmakers put so much hard work into this. Yeah. And I mean, you know what? The director himself came out and said that, hey, we're getting some critical feedback. We'll take this in consideration, and and we're going to improve the design of Sonic and stuff. And you know what? I applaud him for doing that, at least. I mean, I still might not see the movie just because I really don't like it when we have characters that just come from another world and land onto Earth. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I hate Transformers, is because of the fact that we've got kids go in a battle of giant alien robots and stuff, and humans and stuff. And I mean, seriously, look at the Michael Bay films and stuff, even the cartoons. I just think that's so stupid. I hate seeing people from other worlds coming into Earth, and it's oh my gosh, humans are the worst, and I hate it when they're in that type of scenario, because it's just so out of place. I mean, yeah, it's probably for those oh wow, this interdimensional hijinks, and yes, they did that with Sonic X, but I hated Chris so much in Sonic X, so much. But yeah, but game journalists come out Kotaku, I can't remember which one it is. It was one of those Polygon, Kotaku, or one of them, saying stuff oh wow, this is just fans hating on them, because all those people put such hard work into the CGI, they have to slave away and do some more work. Well, if it wasn't done right the first time, then we have a right to be upset about it. You do a horrible job. I mean, if you build a house and it's flimsy and stuff, and then the person who wants to buy the house says, oh, this is horrible, I'm not buying this house, and then you go back later and say, oh, well, you don't go to the person and say, well, you're being horrible. I mean, these people put in such hard work to build your house for you, and you're upset with it. You don't get to do that. We put in hard work. We have to slave away more for that? No, you don't do that. Why? Because you didn't do a good job. If you did a good job, then we wouldn't have to, call you out on it. And then saying stuff well, it's only the top tier. Well, guess what? It might be the top tier, but if it's a group effort, everyone's going to have to suffer for it. I mean, seriously. If I'm in a group project, and if I'm only person who does the work, and other people in the group don't do their part, don't do their work, then guess what? We're all gonna fail together, because the whole team didn't do their job right. And the same thing with that. And then look at Diablo Immortal. Oh my goodness, all these game journalists come out saying that fans are toxic and that we're trolls and stuff because we're criticizing a mobile game and stuff. And you can't have these opinions. Oh, and Last Jedi, don't get me started on that. Full of SJW propaganda and stuff, and just Disney throwing out everything that made Star Wars great, and the characterization, and it just sucked. And I mean, seriously, this is what I'm talking about. You can't criticize this stuff, but for anything else, you can criticize it. And it sucks because, we're paying customers. We put out our hard-earned money. We work hard, all right? I work hard, you work hard. We work hard to earn our money, and we can spend it, and then, people go out, and, we expect to have good quality as we spend our money, and we get trash in return. And, that's the logic that I really can't fathom. We're paying for this stuff, and we can't criticize it? That's stupid. That's really dumb, and it's ignorant. I mean, seriously, it's because of this, because of this new propagating SJW, stigma that's, tainting geek culture. It's why I stopped either following stuff or stopped buying stuff. Seriously, I used to watch Doctor Who. I started, I think I was wow, I can't remember the year, but it was roughly I mean, it was the new series. It was it was somewhere in the transition between David Tennant and Matt Smith, somewhere in that region. So I watched it for a while, and I was and I enjoyed it. But then it started getting a little too political for me as far as the content, so I just had to stop watching it. I dropped out, and I stopped. And I also played Magic the Gathering. Wow, I can't even remember when I started playing that game. It was most likely around 2014, I want to say. That's when I started. I even bought cards prior to the season that was out and stuff. And I played for a long time. And the only reason I initially was going to stop playing was just because I didn't have anyone around who was playing, so I really couldn't just play with anyone. But I stopped buying cards altogether because they just started getting politically correct and stuff with how they handled stuff, and I really was just not having that. So I stopped buying the cards for that. And then comic books, I bought comics. I bought DC, Marvel, and I bought some IDW for some stuff like Transformers. But I stopped buying modern Marvel comics first just because they went full SJW, and I'm it was so cringy, and I hated that. So I stopped buying that. I bought some older stuff though, and then as over time, DC just I wasn't feeling it with them either, so I stopped buying their modern stuff as well. And so at this point, I'm really just buying more retro, more older comics and stuff, stuff like that, because I really just don't like where comics are taking a turn and stuff, and for that matter, all these comic book movies, who's really seeing this stuff? I mean, the majority of people who are seeing this stuff are dare I say normies or casuals, because if you look at comic book sales, they're not even half the number of a film sales for a movie. I mean, seriously, because geek culture and nerd culture has become mainstream, and that is the biggest problem. I mean, it's benefited as far as we're getting more stuff. I mean, we're getting stuff that was once obscure. We're getting that stuff brought out, but at the cost of it, though, is that now it has to appeal to the masses. It has to appeal to a politically correct society and SJW stuff. So it can't do what it was in the comics. I mean, yeah. I mean, seriously, who knew what the Guardians of the Galaxy was until the movie came out? only about maybe 5% of people knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. I mean, I was reading comics and I didn't even know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. Now, granted, once I heard about it, I was slightly curious, so I picked up the comics. I read it. It wasn't for me. I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, I didn't even watch the movie just because I wasn't interested in Guardians of the Galaxy. It wasn't for me. But also, oh wow, what was the other one? I had another good point. I'll just say, but oh yeah. In the Avengers, I mean, in the first Avengers film, when Thanos is teased, it mentions death, and I was curious. I was like, oh my goodness, death is going to. When I see Infinity War, I'm thinking, all right, cool, we're gonna have death, but death never made an appearance. It was really just Thanos' entire plan by himself. That was his plan, and who knew that? I mean, who watching the film was like, oh my goodness, where's death at? I mean, some people, were also wondering, where are the X-Men at? It's like this stuff. I mean, there are references for the fans, but the general audience is not going to treat what we love in the same lights. I mean, something can be bad, and they'll say, oh, wow, that was a pretty good movie. And I'm like, no. There's a reason why I think we should have some sort of quality control. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that we need to have like a gatekeeping per se, but we should be able to voice our opinions and say that there are standards. There are things that should not occur with a franchise that is respected and is celebrated by a community. I mean, every time I see something that I enjoy, and then all of a sudden it goes bad, I'm like, well, I am going to save money, but I do not. I feel bad about the fact that I'm gonna have to save money. I mean, it's the same thing with, like, I was going to buy Mortal Kombat 11, and then as soon as I found out that they had that Jax ending where he's all woke and stuff, and makes the world woke and stuff, and makes the world a better place for I mean, yes, having a better place for African Americans. I mean, I'm African American, so having a better place is nice and all, but the fact that it goes woke is so stupid. I mean, it's horrible, and and then the OK sign is somehow a Nazi signal. I mean, if you're a diver, what are you going to do to say that you're okay under the water? I mean, it's like, oh my goodness, hey guys, we're okay. Oh, I didn't mean I was a Nazi or anything like that. And then, oh, I had another good analogy in my head. Oh, well, no. Oh yeah, and with the PS5, I was really interested in getting a PS5 because it was gonna be backwards compatible, and I was thinking to myself, I don't have a PS4. If I buy one, I can play PS4 and PS5 games. But with Sony's stupid censorship and anti-Japanese law and policies and stuff, I am not buying a PS5. I will save money, not buy it. I will upgrade my PC, and I will be able to play games as I want on there, which of course I was already going to do because I really want to get a nice, good PC. But I will also, get a Switch, which I've been meaning to also do for a while now, and I will play the games I want wherever I want, whenever I want. So I have my powerful PC, and I have my mobile Switch. So, like, I was going to consider getting a PS5. I'm not doing that anymore. And also, the same thing with paying for online. It's bad and stuff because, I mean, it's bad that gamers call it this stuff because, they the console makers have to make their money. Well, guess what? PC, you have free online. You have all the stuff, the same quality. I was going to buy Super Mario Maker 2 for the Switch, but I found out that, you need to have paid online, and I'm not buying paid online for the Switch, so I'm passing on Super Mario Maker 2. I'll buy Super Mario Maker on the Wii U. Just download a bunch of stages and stuff, and I'll call it a day. Because you know what? I'm not paying for that stuff because it is anti-consumer and it's a horrible practice for the fans. And that is all I have to say, everyone. like I said before, check me out on Twitter because I'm going to have some stuff coming up pretty soon in the near future. And with that being said, I am Zara Khan signing out. Have a good one. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment below. Also, follow me on Twitter to stay up to date on news and details. I'll see you next time.